This is day 738 of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like sponsor, can we share more of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi? Please tell me directly. We really appreciate it. We're a few days behind, so we're going to try and catch up the next few days. Today we're doing Tough Gimel, Siv Vav, to Tough Nun Gimel, Siv Gimel. Because that Pasha, but that Pasha, ain't no simple tafshil. Shouldn't have my kidneys so tafshil. Don't forbid a cooked dish when a little bit of kidneys fell into it. No problem. Toss them out and eat the cooked dish. Also allowed to use oil, which is made out of fuel which is made of kidneys. And if this fuel happens to fall into the dish, it doesn't ask the dish. It says you don't have to be meticulous in hanging a candle made out of a kidney oil in a place which is distant from the table out of a concern that it might drip. But it says no, don't use the oil of kidney in a place where it might be possible it's going to drip into the mixed dish. In the dish, but not because of kidneys per se, because they are pressed in presses which press barley. But the truth is, that's not concerning as well. It's nullified before Pesach. It's not something sharp that it's going to be noticed in Talmud Shvach and Pesach. We don't have such scenarios nowadays. Which says that's all this is white oil, which is not harif. But olive oil, if you pound it with a vessel in which you moistened it, etc., certainly it absorbs because olive is sharp. Therefore, olive oil, you definitely have to be careful not to hang the candles near the table so it shouldn't drip on the food. I guess that was back then when they made the olive oil, the same place where they made the barley, which of course is no longer the case at all. Allowed to leave kidneys in your house. So you go sell to non-Jews stock here and make money. And you can also to buy them. Whatever it is. How many groupness is chametz gomer, but other type of some sort of other product is chametz over a line by and you violate by through them. It says if you if you kept them, some people ask you to sell to non-Jew after Pesach. The rabbi says the name of his grandfather that you're allowed to sell them to go after Pesach if they didn't crack through by soaking, because there's a subject of it's anything we make. Nevertheless, a grouping which are made out of oats, even to sell them to a non-Jew after Pesach, is also evidently they become chametz much more readily. But a grain of wheat, barley, and oats, you can buy and sell in Pesach. The flour, check. If it was moistened, it's saucy. Not allowed to buy and sell. Wheat flour, that's different. Many of them have water which came on them. But not rye flour, it's going korin. Alive in order to know whether permitted to do business with them or not in Pesach, you have to know water came on them or not. Hey, the zera akliza of honest is honesty, that I know. The leander, the anal kidneys, they're not types of kidneys, and they're allowed to eat on Pesach. We don't know these herbs. Honest, those has said don't eat honest and caraway until the last day. Because you can't sort them properly to remove the chametz which might get mixed in with them. Crumb kimmel, those are the distinction between certain type of caraway, and which is concerned for feld kimmel, not with field kimmel. The main question is no concern. Does not have to be so machmir in these matters. All those which you said they don't forbid if they fell into a cooked dish. I feel shishim connect the mutter. There's a 60 card, 20 times mitzvah of bachelor. Yeah, man, we'll go about tapshil as long as they want not most of the cooked dish. I was tapshil ain't no stream, even though in a cooked dish they don't answer. Konko nitza b'matzah fuya. If it's found, these things are found in in baked matzah, also matzah. This matzah shouldn't use the time it's for Siemens Tov Samach. That's what he clarified later on. Iodized salt is kitnios, and if you use it by mistake in your pot, it doesn't answer the pot, but you have it. Test. Tamper gimel the challah. Also, when you make a dough from wheat and from rice, has the taste of grain. You are yotze with them Pesach. Glosha said kosav bam Rambam perek v'din he v'chosar avel davku sheyesh bo kazayis min hadogon. Specifically, when there is a kazayis of the grain, b'chtei achilas pras within the in the amount of time, within the amount of volume which you eat during k'dei achilas pras. Chen kosav rashba, because that's be that sheer minimally of grain. Makes sense. If we were just going to say it's okay because of the taste, that the taste that doesn't help because even by certain many people don't get malchus on tam. I feel time kick the rest, even though that the whole taste is primary. Min ha teire. That makes sense for Nisser. Doesn't make sense to spice. Fulfill the mitzvah of eating matzah. I feel like it's Echilas Pras. But they say no, even there is Echilas Pras. It seems that Torah is the same thing. The Yerushalmi says that the grain, the wheat, drags along, schleps along the rice, that should have the taste of the wheat. And that Paka Oras deals Kechitim Atzma. And the rice turns to be as if it is truly wheat. But that would only be true if it's true by wheat and rice. Not by other types. Species. Once that's majority grain. Says that's the majority grain. The time in the greater lowest elaboration this large concept of greater of schlepping long is not mentioned there, but at the beginning of the there are different versions. The Maisa Yesh Lachmir, the Maisa should be Machmir, that it should definitely be at least a Kazai Sichtei Achilas Pras of the grain in your rice mixture. It says that the kernel of this is in the wrong place. Something about mice. Okay, let's skip it out. Your custom about to B'Shem Rabbeinu Peretz. To a right, there are those who carefully sort the grain, the wheat kernels one by one. Mouse, lest a mouse came to eat from them. So they don't have to go to the saliva of a mouse. Is like made peros, like fruit juice, doesn't ferment. But the truth is that it's not like fruit juice. Shurok machmitz, it's not, because saliva does ferment. Like it says, so a person should not chew grain, wheat, and put it on his wound. Should not be lenient. Because the Torah says it's not a problem. It's a distant concern, an unlikely concern. That a tough piece of wheat is going to become fermented by the little piece of saliva in the mouth of a mouse. Even you find pieces of wheat which are bitten, and they're less than 1 out of 1,000, and they are butter when you grind everything together. And it's not considered to be batal. You're not grinding in order to nullify the prohibition. You're not grinding because you want to use it. I'm astounded by the link he makes between the apparent linkage he makes between the saliva of a person and the saliva of a mouse. Says derivatives of water are tears and saliva and urine. But this is only by a person. I feel that even his urine is considered to be like water. But from other animals, it's like fruit juice. That's what I'm paralleling to myself. But besides that, if you're going to go with the idea that what comes out of the mouth of a mouse is like water, then you never have no grain which is not mushal kabatuma. Vadim shudam meiperos machir definitely is like it's like meiperos, and doesn't make something mushal suitable to kabatuma. The Shabura says that a single kernel does not become chametz from the minimum amount of saliva in the mouth of a mouse, and therefore, even if there isn't 60, it's still mutter b'diavad. Halacha says it's possible that the mechaber said when there isn't 60, and therefore it would be appropriate to sort the grain. Obviously, does not require even that. Yurav, v'chein kosav harashba b'tshuva avshli v'raya zu. Rashba writes as follows, even though he didn't bring that proof. It's el shalom. There is no fermentation by the saliva of a mouse. Shalom of other maloy tzchidim is only by a man who chews wheat. But what the mice bite, ain't but there's no issue of fermentation. With that case, we never find any wheat we could use on Pesach. We don't have any stockpile of wheat from which mice don't eat. Because I feel according to this, even there isn't 60, it's mutter. But according to the second reason of the tour, which is that I guess that the second reason is the first reason because it doesn't ferment. The second reason because it's a very small amount. But according to the second reason to it, she needs 60. Obviously, the tour says that 1,000, but you need at least 60. But the Shabura says that if there's a suffix, if there's 60 corresponding to those which have a piece of grain which have bitten by mice and which therefore have puffed up, then you have to be machmir. But English, you can't ask. If he mashkas Rabbeinu Rama b'simatab maz, based on Rama wrote that when you have a mixture of dry and Pesach, the Isser comes back into play. Mam oil. So how's it affected? It's not a question because flour, since it's fine particles, is regarded like a liquid mixture. Since it's not, the particles cannot be individually noticed. Therefore, since it was ground before Pesach, find his bato, so the bato. You can bake it even on Pesach itself. So if you bake before Pesach, find his bato to be nullified. It's not like flour which became moist. And was dried. That we say that it comes back again. There the crumbs are evident. They're visible. Can't answer the don't have to check wheat. Maybe there's some grain which started growing. In a way that we don't know. Maybe there's a lot of them. Maybe there's going to be definitely 60 out corresponding to them. Because there certainly is enough to battle them before Pesach, and but it's best to bake, therefore, as a result, before Pesach, this mixture. The Sharatzian is, of course, concerned with the poskim that the flour is considered yavish b'yavish, and it's chazim minayer, and therefore the Baal HaTanya says that most Jews bake their matzah only before Pesach, because they're afraid that there's some mashu of chametz in the flour, and it doesn't remain butter. You writes, the wheat from which you make a matzah, you have to be careful from the time you harvest it. The water should not come in contact with that wheat. You don't have to be concerned with the time that you grind the flour. Because then it comes close to water. Because you very often grind with a water mill. Because the Shil does not affect you. The Shil says you do not yotzi unless you have matzah which took care to prevent from fermenting from the time that water fell on it. And if the wheat is brought by a non-Jew or by a cheresh or katan, you can't trust it. We're not yotzi obligation. Meaning, if you let elu, if these people brought it to be ground, psulim it's possible should immediately shma. He says not because I can't trust them, but because need lishma. Kol Hashem matzah's mitzvah. It's got to be done for the purpose of the matzah's the mitzvah matzah. K'diisa b'gemara. The Rava is feeling mishas kitzira. According to Rava, it says you have to watch it from the time it's harvested. He said those people harvested and who tied the bundles. When you turn them over, I guess the bundles do. In other words, when you make them as purpose of mitzvah. Rashi appears to the matzah shemitzvah, shimur lishma b'inam. I can't show it. Rashi says matzah mitzvah requires shimur for the purpose of the matzah's mitzvah. Mele comes out the whole davar should tzarich lishma. Anything, it's known obviously. Anything which requires lishma tzarich yisrael gadol. Maybe it requires an adult Jew. El nechluku, but this is a machlok. Because we pass a karava hashim lishma b'shas tir. They don't have to watch it for the purpose of matzah. They have to watch it for the purpose of matzah mitzvah from the time it's harvested. Rosh Hashanah, the Rosh Hashanah, the Hani Pliga Rava says lo b'yishimur tzadskira. He doesn't have to be shimur lishma from the time of harvesting, but the time of grinding. You can we can be astonished. Everyone learns el Rava l'shas kitzira. Gemara only mentions according to Rava from the time of harvesting. Chokima Rava l'shas lisha. Those who argue Rava, it seems that their concern is only from the time that you need the dough, not from the time that you grind the flour. It says explicitly the shimur lisha v'shimur. And watching it during the kneading is considered to be the watching. Okay, no, the Rosh Hashanah. So how do you know? According to how the Rosh Hashanah know? They have to be careful from the time that you start grinding it. This watching it from the time you grind it is not mentioned at the Gemara anymore at all. Could say it's a pragmatic thing. We're not concerned about lishma. We're concerned that maybe water's going to fall on it. No, you can't say that, says the Rosh Hashanah. The Imkain, if that was the case, why, if a non-Jew or a Cheresh Shetagon brings this puzzle, I guess we can't trust him to make sure it doesn't get wet. Clearly, these Shita sold that it has to be lishma from the time of grinding, which is why the guy Cheresh Shetagon is no good. The Shemara writes that the reason that it's from the time of grinding is because then you bring it close to the water, and a place where you grind in a windmill or a hand mill, you don't need shmira from that time, in fact, unless they rinse the wheat. Rather, only from the time of kneading and onwards. He says, Einochanami. But the Arukh HaShulchan says, very clearly, I have to say, the Psikulu Rabbo say that our rabbis hold the Bada Shimur Mishas Atchina. It has to be, well, actually, it's the same thing. the watching has to be from the time of grinding. Came and changed to Glamai because then they're near the water. The Gemara says only from the time of kneading. The name Rubma you're talking about Rechaim Shah Muslim used to use not water mills but hand mills. So Rechaim Lech Devehema or mills which are powered by animals, or a ruach or a windmill. The Kam goes to Shas Mashalo and Matzuit some Rechaim Shemaim no Diad. So in some places in Shah it seems that they did not have water mills but hand mills. The water so variegated again. Reish Kulin Kashim Machshirin. So therefore, it only comes to proximity with water at the time of kneading. That's when you require the watching. But if you're using water mills, you have to be careful from the time of grinding.